I can tell you we went through an extensive search process. We wanted to find a leader. We wanted to find a man with strong character. We wanted to find a man with high football IQ. We found that man, and it's my pleasure to introduce the next head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Mike O'Shea.
That's quite a reception. I appreciate that. Like Kyle, I'm going to be brief. Firstly, obviously, a few thank yous. Kyle and Wade, the Blue Bomber organization, for entrusting me with this opportunity. This is a great opportunity, as evidenced by the fan support here. This is something I didn't expect. I expect to do a media press conference, and you expect the members of the media to be sitting in front of you, but to see people out here like this cheering, it helps solidify why you make a decision like this.
How close are you to develop or bringing a staff together with regards to assistant coaches?
Obviously, there's a protocol that has to be followed at the CFL, and since being hired, we are going to obviously start that process in motion and make calls to ask for permission to talk to staff members that are currently under contract. It is a process. I do want to get it done as quickly as possible. To put a time frame on it would be tough, but there are a number of people that I have in mind that I want to talk to, and we're going to make sure we get the right staff in place to help build that winning culture. So
you have a great defensive and special teams background, but maybe not a ton of offense. Is an OC very important to you, a strong veteran one?
Not necessarily. I'm looking for the best teachers out there. So when we do our search, when I conduct interviews, I'm going to see how these guys teach and see how they fit in with my beliefs, see how we can work together. And it's about making the right decisions, not necessarily quick ones, and not necessarily popular ones, but it's about making the right ones and consistently right decisions.
You come to an organization that's frankly produced more jokes than wins lately. Why come to it now? Why take this job at this time, and what are you going to do to change that?
Oh, there's probably a list, but I'm going to start by trying to infuse what I believe I understand to be winning traditions, just the concept of winning and how you produce that. And it's the daily grind. It's how you approach the daily routine of coming to practice and how you win every meeting, how you win every practice, and that translates to winning on the field. I mean, it's going to be based on, I'm a pretty simple guy. It's going to be based on effort, hard work. It's going to be based on creating a team of players that are very passionate. They got to love the game to be able to be a Bomber football player.
Allowed to follow up, but what makes you qualified after 4 years guiding special teams mainly? What do you think makes you qualified for this?
Well, being from North Bay, you try not to want to talk about yourself, but I guess this is the forum where you have to do it. I played for 16 years. I've got 4 Grey Cup rings. I've been around a lot of winners, been coached by a lot of winners. I've learned from the guys that maybe weren't also. So you get a good handle on what's going to work and what's not. And I'm not afraid to try something that maybe other coaches don't try. And if it's not working, I'm not afraid to admit that and move on. But first and foremost, I really believe that players want to do the right thing. Players don't go out on the field and want to make a mistake. So I believe from coaching from a real positive feedback. I believe some players, they need a little bit more encouragement than others. Some players, you need to rip them. So you have to adapt to each player. One of the things that coaching staffs are going to have to do is learn everything they can about the player and learn how those players learn and how they respond. So I am going to encourage a staff that I assemble to make sure they get down to understanding what each player is like. They have to be treated fairly. That's it. But they can be treated differently, but it has to be fairly. So a real positive outlook. I don't want any negativity around the team. I don't want it surrounding the team. I don't want any negativity in the organization. I want it to be a real positive message.
What's the identity of your football team going to look like in 2014 under a Mike Shea? When people talk about the Blue Bombers next year, what are they going to describe?
Disciplined, hardworking, prepared. Those are the things that they're going to see out there. They're going to see, if I were to envision how we're going to win games, it's going to be defense and special teams. It's going to be hard-nosed, but disciplined football. They're going to be hard-working guys. character players. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way. Part of the process, you go through the roster. It's part of the interview process. You want to talk about the roster. So I've gone through it and looked at the tape, watched tape on players, and we've discussed it. But obviously, from this point forward, we're going to hunker down, roll up the sleeves, and with Kyle's staff, with Danny and Teddy, and Drew, we're gonna sit down and hammer out what our opinions are of all these players. The one thing I can't tell from tape is character, right? You can't tell leadership, say, from all the tape. You know, you might want to make a decision, and you have to have all the information to make good decisions. So we're gonna sit down and really go through it with a fine-tooth comb.
I'm not going to get into who else we talked to or the process. I'll gladly talk about when I was hired and I started putting the list together of the candidates to talk to and go through the whole process. Mike O'Shea was very high on my list. Coaching against him, I knew the caliber of coach that he was. Crossing paths in the off-season at various scouting events, we would seem to gravitate to each other and just talk football, strategy, game management, rules, everything about football. We would just kind of enjoyed those conversations, and he's earned quite a reputation as a very smart football guy that's well respected, that has high character, all the things that I touched on, very high football IQ, and the interview process that we went through solidified that. And this was the type of man that is going to lead this franchise to where it needs to be.